during the Hurricane Georges, it came like mud on the walls and so on.
Like all the dust was all over the place. You could have seen it on the wall.
My house was covered in red dust, but it didn't look like dust. It looked like blood.
Alcoa would ship in bauxite, and then they would refine the bauxite into alumina. And the byproduct of that is a red dust. And they would simply stockpile it up higher and higher and higher. And then they built more and more piles.
When we start hearing what it was, then we start to get scared. Yeah, we were bathing in that water.
I start to see people like with a lot of rash on their skin. People got asthma, bronchitis.
They knew it was dangerous, and they left it there. And they knew that this island gets hurricane every year. So they knew that it was possible I could go flying. And they didn't do anything. They left it there.
When you flew into St. Croix, the first thing you saw were these enormous hills of this red dust. There were groups that tried to get the government to require them to cover the red dust, but those were never successful.
When people learned that there were carcinogens inside there, I mean, the level of fear and anxiety, it was palpable, and I know that. I was born on St. Croix, so a lot of the neighborhoods that were affected by the red dust, I grew up there. Environmental racism for me is a real thing because I see where all the factories on this island are set, and every last one of them are in areas where our financially vulnerable residents live. And it's usually because those are the people who lack the resources, in my mind, to fight back if something goes wrong. Well, Red Dust began as a class action. I think the class potentially had about 3,000 people in it. There were personal injury claims. There were property claims.
I think they thought that eventually, people would give up.
Because you were between the federal courts, the state courts. At one point in time, they were removing and had to be remanded.
I think they quite frankly thought the case would never get to trial. The testimony was very bad for them. The head of the refinery at the time of the hurricane, Mr. Pedersen, had been asked in his deposition, what did you do to try to protect your neighbors from the hurricane? His answer was, absolutely nothing. So when it got a complex litigation and it got a judge that was really moving things, I think that they realized that not only were they going to get substantial damages, but they were also going to get punitive damages against them. And that's when everything changed. And in August of 2024, the defendant said, we'd like to talk about settlement.
It took a long time. 27 years is a long time to hold on to a case.
I know it took some years from beginning to end with the case, but I'm gratified for the money we got.
I was shocked, I'm not gonna lie, because I wasn't expecting so much, but I was happy.
Well, we finally got justice.
The number of people who benefited from that was 1,537 people. I'd say a couple hundred had passed because of how long this goes. So their estates benefited from it.
And I'm happy that there's now a benchmark of if you do this type of harm in the future, this is what you're potentially facing. And that will hopefully have them much more cognizant of their corporate decisions when it comes to the plants on St. Croix.
And what goes on here and what has happened here is now public knowledge. So I was very happy for the people of Virgin Islands. This is a jurisdiction that will punish you. And so I think people have become more careful as a result of this case.